Most respected dear family members, my pranams to you. For the last few months, we are reading in the newspapers and we are watching in the television channel many atrocities taking place against the girls and women folks in many places, perhaps in different places of different states, different parts of India. These incidents have tarnished the Indian image world over, even though the authorities, the rulers and the police are taking extremely very well planned steps to prevent such incidents. It can be seen that these type of incidents are taking place in the center of the cities, towns, villages, and also in remote areas. Why it is happening and how it can be prevented? These are the two questions asked by many people, many intellectuals, many politicians, many rulers and feminists. They shout against such incidents. They point their fingers towards the rulers and also policemen. Outright and severe criticisms are being shot against the police all over India. What I wanted to say, thus society is being burdened with targeted with the criticism. Many intellectuals and many feminists say that it is the responsibility of the society to see that such incidents do not occur. Such incidents should not have occurred. These intellectuals and these feminists and the so-called writers, scholars, thinkers sitting on either side of the bench when the TV camera project towards them, they release all their internal thrust, internal aversion against the society, which looks as though they are far away from the society. Merely criticizing the society does not mean anything. It is searching for the black cat which is not there in the dark room. There is nothing like society together prevent all these things without a leadership, without a guidance, without a particular aim. Putting all these things on the society does not mean anything. Exactly like that. Pointing towards the police and putting all the burden on the shoulders of the policemen or low maintaining authority or legal system, that also will not work to the expected extent of maintaining full law and order all over India. India is a very big country, and you can see this country has got terribly high mountains, seashores, banks, forests, absolutely very busy towns and cities, and vacant roads, highways and other places. The number of policemen and the facilities available for them are very meager. Within these meager facilities and the manpower, one cannot expect that the policemen do everything for maintaining the law and order in every nook and corner of this very big great country. So blaming the society does not mean anything. Blaming the policemen also does not mean much. It is not only in India. Anywhere in the world, you know that with all the tight security maintained for President of America, John F. Kennedy got shot. You know, with the tightest, the most powerful security provided for Princess Diana when she visited some European country, she was killed. And you can see that even the tightest security provided within her own home, Indira Gandhi was shot at within their own house premises. And you know what happened to Rajiv Gandhi. These are all the things happening around us, whether it is in India or outside India. In this week, 3-4 days back, you know that 13 people were shot dead in the Naval Center, the most security sensitive place in Washington, America. So we cannot say that, and we should not think that, and we cannot expect that. The securities provided by the policemen can save every woman, every girl in the world, or every woman, every girl in India. And the society can do nothing much except that creating the awareness among the men and women to see that they are protected mainly by themselves. So blaming the society on one side, blaming the policemen on the other side, and beyond all these things, the third side is criticizing and blaming and using all negative words towards the rulers. Criticizing the rulers will not fetch very big result, because they are also human beings like we people. They cannot do the things by themselves. They can only get the things done through policemen or subordinate authorities like district collector, panchayat rulers, and so on. So blaming the rulers can just carry our burden on their shoulder without much results or reward. Then what is the next choice? Very simple. According to me, it is not very complicated. You know that when you are walking through the roads, heavy and busily tight roads, naturally we protect ourselves. Whenever we travel in a bus, we protect ourselves. Whenever we eat the food, we make it sure that the food will not create much problem for our body. Whenever we go to a remote area, we make sure that no bad incident will be taking place in that location. Whenever we are trying to go to the forest or mountain or any other place, even Kailas Yatra or Amarnath Yatra or Badrinath Yatra or Kumbh Mela or Rishikesh or Haridwar or Annai Velangani or Hajj pilgrimage, first of all, we make sure that we are protected. We are protected by ourselves. We are protected by the group around us. We are protected by the law maintaining authorities. Then only we march forward for doing anything. Even while taking bath in Kovalam beach or in Marina beach, or when we travel in the train, the first and the most important thing is that we look after ourselves and we protect ourselves, and we rarely and perhaps never take any risk to see that problems may come to us on the way. So protecting ourselves, according to Lord Krishna's message, Uddhared Atmanatmanam, you have to see that you are elevated, you have to see that you are not denigrated, you have to see that you are not submitting yourself for the problems in front of others. So blaming the society, blaming the law-abiding, law-maintaining authorities, and blaming the rulers and shouting against them, particularly in the TV interview, and thinking that I have done my duty, I have shouted, it is only cutting the water using a sword. Your responsibility and our responsibility is not over, because shouting or screaming or calling for a hartal or a bandh or blocking the secretariat gate or even rounding around the collectorate, the people will think of doing that, people will do that, and after some time they will go back to their home. So there may be a beginning, there may be a middle, and there may be an end. What is the use of that? The girl, the woman who faced these negatives, they are the sufferers and they will remain as the sufferers. Their parents will be the next step of the sufferers. And remember that when the girl or woman, they follow some of this dress code as shown in the TV, some of these so-called bold, courageous activities as shown in the film movie, particularly Hindi movie, and if they start following some of the bad steps demonstrated in the movies and also in reality shows and in serial dramas in the TV, and self-proclaimed masculine gender in the feminine body, and projecting maximum, protecting minimum, that calls for the problem for themselves. Freedom is there for everybody, freedom should be there for everybody, but freedom should not be utilized for jumping into the sea. Freedom should not be utilized for jumping in front of the railway engine. Freedom should not be utilized for proving that I am a bold, courageous girl or woman. And I think in the last year, the role played by the women folk in tarnishing the women, role played by the women for tarnishing their own gender, the number is increasing, and you can see Kerala newspapers are filled with 2-3 names, female names. I do not want to quote that. My aim is not that. So whatever is happening to a girl or woman, the responsibility falls on men and women. In olden days it used to be only on the men, and now you can see the women folks are also playing equally negative role in trapping the girls, in trapping the women in different places, selling their bodies and making money, or for elevating their position in the society in the dark part of the day and night. And remember that here individuals are playing the negative roles, atrocities against the girls and women, and those type of individuals are responsible for the negatives, and the total society is getting the blame. When 123 crore people are there in India, and suppose in Kerala 2.65 crore people are, 3.65 crore people are there in Kerala, nearly 6 crore people are there in Tamil Nadu, and similarly the number is very big. The number of policemen is 0.001% of the total number of the people in that particular state. And when individuals do some negatives, that is not only against the girls and the women, individuals do negatives and atrocities to the society, and terrorism is an example, making bomb is another example, killing many people, shooting many people is another example, and corruption is another example, white collar corruption is yet another example. Even highly educated doctors, MBBS, MD and still higher position and qualification, they make a commission on the medical test they are doing. They do cesarean unnecessarily. They do surgery where it is not needed. They make money by giving overdose medicines. So these are all the things happening on individual basis, for which we cannot say all doctors are corrupt. We cannot say all chartered accountants are corrupt. We cannot say all policemen support such type of thing and all policemen are simply sitting and keeping quiet, seeing all these nonsenses happening in the society. So where to arrive at? My simple suggestion to all parents is that it is their responsibility to protect their girls and their children. And dear girls, it is your responsibility to protect your mind and your body. A male member, a man can escape anything from any type of negatives, creating problem for the woman and a girl. But it is not the fate for the girls and women. Once they are tarnished, the society will label them bad. It is not society's mistake. It is the tradition, whether good or bad. A spoiled girl and a spoiled man, society will be pointing towards the spoiled girl. I am not supporting anything, but it is the fact. We have to understand what is the truth, what is the fact and what is the sense. When a bad girl comes forward, it will be pointed in a big letters. In big letters. So remember that every girl should see that they should not move in really problematic area alone or with minimum protection. They should have enough protection. And merely having courage and merely saying that they are bold enough to take any challenges as shown in the movies, remember that they are all movie stories, not the real part of life. If they do not know how to protect themselves, naturally they will become the victim. Even after months or years of sentencement or legal procedure, the victims may be getting some support and culprit may be even be hanged. Still, what is lost for the girl is lost forever. What is lost for the parents is lost forever. That should be remembered. And the movie, drama, reality show are not the real face of the life. Remember that when you are careless about your own life, when you are careless about your own body, you are careless about your own dress, you are careless about your own appearance in the society, and roaming with the boys and roaming the place where it is risky, roaming around the places where odd times in midnight, and roaming through the national highways where people are absent. Such incidents, such happenings will be tarnishing your body, your mind, your name and your fame. So remember that the so-called intellectuals, so-called feminists, so-called politicians, so-called policemen may put their condolence for that, may say that the society should see that everything is done. Don't think that the society means something, a solid authority to undertake action against all these negatives. So Atma iva hyatmano bandhugo. I have to protect myself. I have to see that I am not jumping into the problems and I am not creating problem for me and also those who are nearby me. What happened in Delhi, perhaps it cannot be controlled by the society or by the police or authorities. But what happened in Bombay could have been avoided by the girl and the boy who went in such a risky place. Could have been avoided by the people who sent them to do such a task. They could have been avoided. Many places 50% of the incidents take place when the women take unnecessary risk and jumping themselves into the problems without looking the past, present and future, without even looking into the incidents took place to others. And many of the movies teach us good lessons too. We are not watching the movies. If at all we are watching those movies, we are not learning anything from that movie. The movies, the drama or the social comments or what is appearing in the newspaper, what are the things appearing in the televisions as news or as a scene, from which if we are not learning anything, we are not understanding anything, we are not studying anything, it is the problem of the girls, it is the problem of the woman, it is the problem of the parents, and it cannot be blamed fully in toto the society or policemen or the rulers. So my request to every parent, Lakshmana Rekha is there for every girl, Lakshmana Rekha is there for every man, and Lakshmana Rekha should be kept in the mind, crossing which can create problem, just like our epics say. So my duty is to see that I am protecting my wife, I am protecting my daughter, I am protecting my sister, and the duty of my wife, duty of my daughter, duty of my sister is to see that they are not jumping into the negative locations and negative time which can create problem for themselves. 24 hours watching, 24 hours security may not be possible for everyone. So my request to everyone is to see that they keep a disciplined life, a disciplined dress code, a disciplined value-based living system, never jumping into some of these negatives for getting awards, for getting projection, for getting the leadership of the society, for getting so many negatives, negatively positive things. I use the word for getting name and fame. Many people are doing many negatives. That way I used them. For getting the name, for getting the money, for getting the position, for getting the higher rank, many people, particularly girls and women, when they do something like this, sometimes even in ppm, parts per million incident, negative can take place. Very recently I happened to discuss with many of the principals and many of the teachers who run colleges and schools, and I also happen to go to ICFI business school in different parts of India for delivering lecture for MBA students. And majority of the teachers, majority I use the word, with whom I had a discussion, they are telling that it is not the boys who are creating problem in the school campus, it is the girls who are creating problem. And the so-called vigor, so-called extra activities of the boys have come down to a controllable level, whereas the girls are overtaking all these things. It may not be fully true, but one thing I have also seen, that girls are heading the boys, and wrongly to say that when they are taking the leading hand to trap the boys, maybe in isolation, maybe isolated incident. So remember that this all can lead to negatives, mainly to the girls and women. One of the professors in America, when I was working there, he declared that when a girl enters into the room of a boy with the minimum dress, anything can happen in that room. So remember that human beings are one among 1.4 million type of animals. Always in the animal system, the males follow the females. The males want to get their things done for which they use any type of negative pathway, adopt negative activities and actions. This should be kept in the mind. Human beings are also part of the animal system, and human beings have got animal instinct in them. Even with a higher level of education or higher level of culture, in isolation people may go to negative. That is what I gave the example of doctors, some of the chartered accountants, some of the judges, some of the advocates, some of the rulers, with all their name, fame, educational background and culture. They are behaving like animals in corruption and also in many negatives. So mere education, mere culture, mere civilization do not mean that such things will not take place. These things are taking place in Europe, these things are taking place in developed countries, developing countries and underdeveloped countries, and it is taking place in India. The people may be shouting, screaming, protesting, calling for hartal or calling for band, but what is lost for a girl, what is lost for a woman is lost forever. After losing all those things, merely weeping will not give all whatever is lost back to you. So protect yourself. Remember that we are living in a society with limitations. It is not a 100% free society. Even in 100% free society in European countries, these type of things are very frequently happening, but it is not a justification of happening the same or similar thing in India. Still, the sufferers will be the sufferers. All protesters and protectors may be there or may not be there. Project minimum your body, protect maximum your body. My pranams to you. Thank you very much.